Okay, so this video is going to be about getting Nivo slider up and running. That's this thing here, Nivo slider. You get it from the Dev 7 stuff. Okay, once you're here, just download it. Okay, so once again, that's the address. Okay, so once you've downloaded, you get this folder. Right click, extract, however you want to extract it. You'll end up with this guy here, and inside it there's a whole bunch of files. Okay, so if you click on demo, okay, you'll allow the block content. Just ignore that first one, it fixes on the first rotation. Okay, so and away you go. You can manually click through it, or you can just be patient and wait for it. Okay, cool. So that's what we're going to implement. Now, like normal, whenever I do anything like this, I start off with a plan. So here's one I drew earlier. Basically, it's 1000 by 1000. We're going to have a header, gallery, and we'll have text blocks as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that to my other screen, and then we're going to load up Expression Web. You can use Expression Web, you can use Visual Studio, you can even use Web Matrix if you want, or if worse comes to worse, you can choose Dreamweaver. Okay, so let's get started. So same type of deal as normal. I'm going to go Site, New Site. Make sure you're on your desktop. I'll call this guy Site 1. Okay, rename that page if you get one to index.html. Okay, so inside here, of course, we start off with our skeleton. So that's going to be div id equals dpage. Everything goes inside dpage, remember. I've got div id equals to header. Then I'm going to have div id equals the slider. So that's where I'm going to put my sliding gallery. I'm going to have div id equals the content. Okay, so this would be where I like stick some left and right content. So I'll have div id equals the left, and div id equals the right. Okay, once again, don't forget to put in your comments. End of the page. The reason you put your comments is so you know where everything finishes, so you don't get confused by floating divs. Okay, the content of the right, end of the left, end of the slider, oops, that way, and end of the header. Okay, so that's the skeleton. So if I bring this back over again, have a look. So I've got my header, my slider, my content, which is this box here, my left and my right. Okay, excellent. Toss him back there. Now let's do the styles. So we go style, type, text, there. Hash the page. So I'm going for a width of 1000. Going for a height of 1000. My background color will be lime, and of course I want it floating, so I'll go margin 0 auto. Okay, so that makes it stick in the center. Same deal as always, when you make one style sheet, jump in, check it. Though there is a good chance I might just skip that rule just for a little bit so I can speed up the typing part. So the width is 1000 pixels, the height was 100 pixels. Background color will go with that color because it's a color. Okay, hash the works better with a hash. Hash the slider. So header sliders next, and the width is, I only want this thing to be 600 pixels wide. So 600 pixels. I'll give it a height of 250 pixels. Background color. Not that it's going to make much of a difference, but we'll just throw in that color. And because the actual width is 1000 wide, but I'm only using 600, I want it to basically center it. I'm just going to put some padding. No, I'm going to use a margin, sorry. So a margin on my left of 200. Okay, so that should leave 200 on the left, 200 on the right. So it should sit right in the middle. And then we'll throw in D content. Okay, so these are my big boxes. Remember when we design this stuff, we go from big boxes down to small boxes. The height is 650. Background color, you can go that one. Excellent, so I'll check that just quickly. Dun, dun, dun. Excellent, that's all in. So now I'm going to put my left and right content in. So my left, the width was, real quick, my picture. Right, width was 350 pixels. The height is 650. Background color, as a color. And of course, because we want this guy on the left, we float him to the left. Remember, any columns you do are always floating left, except for the very last one, which you float right. So the width of this is 650, the height for this is 650. Doesn't matter where you put the stuff as long as you put it in, because it's smart enough to figure it all out, and we'll just give that there's a color. Okay, we'll close them all up. So now if I check that, boom, there's my boxes. Excellent. So I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to do some folder work. So I'm going to want a new folder for my CSS. I'm going to want, because we're putting in the slider, I'm going to need some JavaScript, so I'll make a folder for JavaScript. Call it JScript. If I could spell it right, JScript, like so. And then we'll have a place to store the images in as well. Images, like so. So that's our 3 folders for it. Now, in here I'm going to save before I attach. So now I attach, make sure it's current page, link, click browse, CSS. I forgot to actually make the CSS. That was silly. Okay, right click on the CSS folder, go new, CSS, stylesheet.css. World of difference. Attach, shave, I'm here. Attach, current page link, browse, CSS. Oh look, style sheet. Perfect. Okay. So that creates this link here. Okay. You might want to put in one of these. This is my style sheet. Okay, because the Nivo stuff, when I load it up, you'll see has a whole bunch of different styles to it. So if I save that, now down here in the manage style sections, click, drag, done. So now I've got a nice clean page. Load it up again. Make sure everything runs. Excellent. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Nivo folder, go into the demo page. This is the demo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it into expression. So once I get to the grey bar, it opens up. So I can see what they've got. So this is the JScript, so this is a Java query. This is their styles that they use. This section right here is their entire slider section. Okay, so this is where the gallery is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of this. I'm going to stick it right above that. I'm going to put it surrounded by some comments. So this is the Nivo slider CSS. Just so I know it finishes, I'm going to end of slider CSS. Okay, so remember, documentation, really, really good. The JavaScript is down on the bottom of the page, so I'm taking all of that now. JavaScript doesn't always have to go at the base, right? So even though that's at the base, you could have it up in the head. But there's been studies and tests that show that the JavaScript works faster. It's faster if it's the last thing loaded up, so your page will be quicker. So it's a way of optimizing your page. This is the Nivo JavaScript, like so. And we go end of scripting. Paste. Okay, so now that I've got that, I need to start moving files across and putting it in the right spot. So what I'm going to do is back into my folder here. So let's have a look. Okay, so let's deal with this JavaScript first. Now I've got 2 JavaScript files. I've got the jQuery one, which is inside the scripts file, and I've got the Nivo slider. So back on my folder here, if I go into scripts, that's jQuery, so I'm going to right click, copy in my JScript folder. I'm going to paste that there, check, make sure it's there, good. And then I want to go through here, and I want to get the slider, same deal, copy that, paste it right there. Okay, then I have to make sure this is clean. So that's now actually JScript. Okay, so you always check the pathing of your jQuery or your images or anything at all like that. So if I look on here, JScript, jQuery, jQuery, JScript, jQuery, you've got to make sure it checks. So now let's have a look at here at these styles. Okay, so we're going to do the exact same thing. They're all going to go into our style sheets here. So I'm going to take these styles and paste. Okay, so that's our default. So I've got him in, so I've got CSS. I've put the light one in as well. So default, light, dark, and bar are all different themes, and I'll show you how to get those up and running in a sec. Once we get this up and working. Okay, so I've got those guys in there. Now I need to get the Nivo slider CSS. So Nivo slider, same deal, copy that, paste into here, modify that so it knows where it is, and we'll grab their style sheet which they used on the demo, which we can probably get rid of, but we'll just put it in there to start off with. Paste, and that's actually in CSS/. Okay, so these are all now pointing to the right area, because if you use Control and click on it, it opens up the CSS for you. Right, it's a good way of determining whether or not those links are working. Now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to put in here slider code. Okay, so notice commenting all the way. This is how you should be doing your stuff. Oop, didn't mean to minimize all that. Bring that back up. Now I go to the demo section, and I'm going to take from here to here. Okay, I'm not too worried about the captioning. I don't really want that, so I'm just going to copy this, paste it there. Now notice how everything's all tabbed out, and I'm missing a div. That's because I didn't take all of it. So I'll close it off here. Now let's see. I want the images. So if I close some of these up, I have no images yet, so I'm going to go steal the same images that these guys have been using. So Nemo to Wally, and right click, copy that, click back here and paste. Okay, they're in there. So let's have a look. Images, Toy Story. Okay, that's surrounded by a link. I want that for this particular gallery. Tidy that up. Boom, 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 boom. Excellent. Okay, so they're all in. So, fingers crossed, if I run it up now, got to allow the block content. Nothing happened. Cool. That's not actually a good thing, but I actually paused the video, found the mistake. And what I had done was I made a typo down here. I forgot the R. So now if I run it up and I allow the block content, my slider kicks in. Okay, so I've got the whole thing here. Notice how it starts changing and moving all by itself. I haven't clicked on anything. So you've got to make sure you always get your typos, because otherwise they will be the death of you. Now, these parts here you can actually take off, and you can also modify the type of transitions you've got. Okay, but first I'll show you the themes, which we've loaded up here. So I'll change my theme from default to light. Okay, I'll rerun it back up. So notice now it's got all the little bits over here. It's in a white background, so if you've got white, which works pretty well. So if I change, if I close that and say we change to dark now, okay, so you can get extra themes for this thing. We'll run him up. Okay, so now it's in a black border. Now, as I said, we can get rid of the extra numbers and styling and so forth. That's actually in the JavaScript for this one here. So if I control click, okay, this loads up the JavaScript. Now what we look for is we look for the actual we look for the default options. The default options are actually on the bottom. So if you scroll past all that down to here, the default settings, okay, so this thing here is where you get to choose the type of effect that happens. Okay, control nav, this is the actual numbers that turn up. So if it's true, the opposite of true is false. Okay, so if you type in false here, what I will do is I'll put it in settings true false. Okay, so if I save that now, jump back to here, reload the page, allow the block content. So notice how I'm missing this part. There's no dots here, but I have my navigation buttons here, so I can click through these guys. I want to go backwards and forwards, so that's good. Okay, so just remember, if you want to play with anything extra or additional, you can do it in here. If you actually go to the Nivo site, in the demo there was a link to it. Okay, so if I copy that one up, I'll just crank it up in Chrome. Nivo slider. Then we go into documentation. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. This is all the effects that you can apply to it. Okay, so each one of these effects you can change here in the effects section. Okay, as you can tell, they actually tell you what everything does here. So this is good for you to find out. Yeah, that's pretty much it.